Hey everybody, it's Theresa here of Larkin Design, and so today I have a bit of a fun layout for you that actually came together just when I was organizing some stuff on my desk. And so I found that I had some pieces from the Maggie Holmes Sunny Day collection left over, and I also had some Instax photos that were just sitting over on my cabinet, and they really needed a home. And so as I was cleaning up and organizing completely other unrelated stuff, I realized that I had these cute Instax photos and these remnants from the Sunny Days collection, and why didn't I just go ahead and combine that to create a layout? And so that's what I'm going to do here on the process video today. And I'm going to start with, I didn't really have any full 12 by 12 pattern papers left from that collection, but when that happens, I just bring in a mixed media paper or just regular cardstock. And this is, what I'm using here is the Hobby Lobby branded mixed media cardstock. And so this is a great background paper to use for watercolors and things like that. And then I decided to use the Jane Davenport watercolor brushes as well. And you can see here what I'm doing is actually creating two backgrounds from one process. And what I like to do is put down the paint on one of the sheets of cardstock and then flip it over onto another sheet of cardstock. And that way you get a 2-for-1. And I know that a lot of people like to use the plastic, or they like to use their jelly plates, and those are also great ways to get a nice colorful background. But this is just how I found that is a lot of fun for me, and I love that you get a 2-for, and so your paint goes more, right? You get more use out of your paints that you're using. And you'll notice in my little paint palette, I put just a couple of drops from the brushes into the paint palette and then add water. So it looks like I'm using a lot of paint, but this, what makes it look like a lot of paint is that I've added water to it. And it's important when you're doing this to use a type of cardstock that your paint doesn't absorb into immediately. And so what you see happening is that I'm laying down paint and it's still a little bit wet, and then I'm adding more water to it so that it will continue to move across the page. And then you can see here both of the backgrounds that are completed. Which one would you use? That's the fun part of doing this 2-for-1 kind of thing. And so I chose the lighter one, and really you can't go wrong. I will share what I do with the other one later on as well, and you'll get to see a more detailed video of how I did that background over on my Instagram as well. And so that'll be a lot of fun if you want to see more details about how that came together. And so what I have here are these 5 Instax photos from a weekend that Alan and I took a couple of years ago to Charleston. Charleston and Savannah both are 2 of my favorite cities to visit. And this particular weekend, he and I had gone, just the 2 of us together, and which does not happen very often, but we happened to have a weekend with no kids. And so we were just on the beach that day, and the other the other Instax photos are from downtown Charleston. And so what I decided was that I wanted to use some of the pattern papers as a sort of collage type background. And I didn't want to cover up all of the beautiful mixed media background that I had just created. And truth be told, it didn't need any of the pattern papers. I could have just put the Instax photos down on the mixed media background and then added the title and a bit of journaling and called it done. But I did want to use some of these papers before I, let them go, before I call this collection done. And so I just tore them and put them in a loose kind of collage arrangement for the background. And you can see how I sort of laid it all out before I adhered it down, because I wanted to just make sure that it was a good composition. And I knew that I wanted there were, 3 horizontal Instax and 2 vertical Instax. So that makes for a pretty interesting way to put those down on the page. And then it left a little bit of space for the title at the bottom. And then those pattern papers peek out just a little bit around the photos as well. And they also create a little bit of space for some of the embellishments. And so I went into my chipboard pieces. What I do once I've used a chipboard once I've used a collection of products for a couple of layouts, I take the chipboard pieces off of the big 12 by 12 sheet and store them in silverware divider drawers. Those wooden containers that you can put in your silverware drawer. I keep them all together by shape like that. And so I went in and found a couple of the ones that I had left over from Sunny Days. And so I found the title, Life is Lovely, and also the little umbrella and the bathing suit and the pelican. I was actually kind of surprised to find a use for the little pelican. He's so cute, but he looks great there, pointing into the photos on the layout. And then, of course, I also had these vellum stickers, and those worked out really beautifully on top of this painted background. And I have to say that might be what I do with the other background paper. I'm not sure yet, but it just looks so pretty to put those word strips down, the little bird, to put that down and still see the mixed media behind it. It was kind of pretty, and I really liked how that turned out. And so there were just some opportunities around these photos just to add a couple of more word phrases and sentiments, and just bringing in some of the mood and the thoughts that I had as I was creating this page. And so you'll be able to see the layout, of course, completed as always on our blog at larkindesigntm.com. And I hope that this is inspiring to you. Think about that the next time that you're cleaning up or that you're organizing your scrapbook space. Think about what are the miscellaneous things that you find laying around, and how can you make a layout from that. That was just a really fun way to get one more layout out of this collection. I think typically I usually create about 5 or 6 layouts from each collection that I purchase. I will usually consider that a success. And then I'm going to take my little Sharpie here and just add a little sentence of journaling, just thinking about how wonderful it was way back when we could actually travel to places. So thank you so much for joining me today. It was fun sharing this layout with you, and I will see you back here again very soon. Bye-bye.